change. Let me put that here. Even let me put that there. You see, so you can see it in a good way. Whoop. Okay, so the upgrade fast. Okay, so nice. You see, a PC I built like 13 years ago. So here you go. 13 or 12, maybe 12. 12 or 13 years ago. Between, well, around this time. And so honestly the processor is nice, and basically you see what happened is that they put reduced processors on laptops. Okay, so here we go. So I can start, you see, building the script. Let's do that while it's progressing. So obviously we'll upload it on GitLab. So go to projects. So let's set up another project. Yes, let's set up another project. So let's go on GitLab and set that up. So obviously you can do a curl to create a project. I'm not going to do that for now, okay? But going to do that at some point, okay? Donc on peut faire un curl pour créer un projet. Évidemment, hein, on peut automatiser énormément de choses. On va pas le faire tout de suite. On va d'abord le faire comme ça parce que bon, là si je fais le curl, il va me falloir aller peut-être une demi-heure le temps de trouver le curl, etc. Là je set up en 5 minutes et c'est bon. Et là vous allez me dire, mais justement c'est comme ça que les infrastructures sont mal construites. Alors bon, oui, mais en gros ce qu'il faut faire c'est un mix des deux, c'est-à-dire faire d'abord vous voyez ça au début, et ensuite penser à tout changer au bon moment, vous voyez, et passer à l'automatiser au bon moment, ok? So my project, on va l'appeler setup. So basically this could be the setup growth computer, you see, but so the script I started in setup growth computer are not ready, you see. So I worked in a layered way, but like a bit mixed, you see. So it's a bit mixed. Some things are not finished because I was working on Mac and they created a lot of problems. Okay, so that's why. But basically, setup. Let's have like a side project like setup home computer. Okay, so setup home computer. Not no me for now. Okay. So going to do that. So now it's switch create to create a branch. I used to use checkout B to create a branch. So it changes, you see. So now it's done. So going to get that directly on the computer, you see. So let's ping Google. Okay, so it's connected to the internet. So I always ping Google to see if it's connected to the internet. Like, I think Google is the company that contributed the most to the internet. So sorry. So 6 milliseconds, nice response. So let's clone. So you see, I started like kind of a Kubernetes cluster, but I could not get it going because of the problems that they were creating on the machines. Okay. And because of everything that was happening. À cause de tout ce qui est arrivé. J'avais commencé à essayer de faire un cluster Kubernetes, mais voilà. À cause de tout ce qu'ils ont fait sur les machines, j'ai pas pu avancer. D'accord. Donc voilà. Donc c'est pas grave. On va créer un dossier. So let's create a repo. Comment on dit un dossier? A directory. So let's create a directory like Gautier's project, like my Apple one. Hop. And let's clone. Okay, git not installed. Wow. So I don't know if they removed it or if I did not install it. It's possible that I did not install it. C'est possible que je l'ai pas installé. Donc, well, going to verify that git is installed in the script. Okay. I can uninstall install for the script. Okay. So you'll see if we have as much bash problems as like a few months ago. Okay. So basically you need to install a clipboard history. Okay. Because this is yeah, obviously, yes, I need the key. So let me get the key. Let me create a key and put a key on a GitLab. Okay. So I honestly don't use I never used this method. You're gonna say, Gauthier, you're too junior. I don't know. In 3 years of experience, never used this method. Maybe it's a problem. Maybe it's not. Up to you. So I was not creating a lot of projects. Okay. So going to first do this because I'm going to forget after. Let's go global. I mean, only me is going to work on this machine. Okay. So nice. Let's go in preferences, access SSH keys, and so add a new key. So this will be my let's add a new key. Let's copy this, you see. So there's Gauthier 2 times. So I set up this name. You see, I set it up a few months ago, but basically, I don't remember why I did Gauthier. I can change this name if you want. So hostname control. So I don't remember exactly how to use that. So let's. So to change, basically, you have to also know these things before, because changing the host name can be nice. So if no one prints the system host name, if an optional argument name is given, then the comment changing the system host name to name. Okay. So sometimes when you do this, you see, sometimes what it does is that it changes the host name, but when you restart the machine, the host name is lost. Okay, so you need basically to do that in a configuration file. So this is something that you only know if you have experience. Okay, donc ça c'est quelque chose, bon, il faut avoir un petit peu d'expérience. Ce que je viens de dire, c'est qu'en gros, quand vous faites des commandes comme ça, il faut que au redémarrage de la machine, il faut que tout soit bien fait. Vous voyez, donc voilà, ça c'est très important. Donc par exemple ici, so use systemd first boot to initialize the system name for mounted but not booted system images. So systemd first boot, never use that. So you see, so a lot of things changed also. So between versions, like sometimes there's hundreds of things that are changing. Ok, donc parfois il y a des centaines de choses qui changent. Donc à chaque fois il faut réapprendre. Ok, donc systemd first boot. Est-ce que ça le change dans un fichier de config? En fait, ça, moi j'aimerais bien savoir où est le fichier de config. Machine info, system control. So where's the location? No. Control the system host name. So you need to know, basically what's better is that you need to know where is it stored in the system. Basically, this abstraction sometimes is like it's a fluke to like make you less capable of learning where it really is the host name and what you can do with it. Okay, donc de temps en temps, vous voyez, ces abstractions-là, c'est fait pour, en gros, limiter vos capacités, de temps en temps. Donc si un static hostname, so systemd first boot, let's go with this. So to inspect a service, you just do systemctl. So this is all the services. No pager. Okay, and basically, donc vous voyez, ça c'est tout ce qui tourne sur la machine. Donc c'est tout ce qui tourne en background. Donc this is everything that runs into the background. Okay, so basically we need to search for first boot. Okay, so So you see 248 units, so things like that are running. Okay. Obviously, there's also the inactive units. So first boot might be inactive. You see, so because I don't see it there. Maybe it's an inactive one. Let's do all. So it's kind of weird because I don't see system. No, system D first boot. Sorry. So basically, you just grep and you search first boot. Okay. So you see like they transform, like they removed this into my head. You see. So here you go. So it's loaded but inactive. So basically, what you can do to have information about like what's running on the computer, you do status system first boot. System D, sorry, you see. Voilà. Donc voilà. Donc si vous voulez savoir ce qu'il y a sur l'ordinateur, eh bien système D first boot. Ok. Enfin, si vous voulez avoir plus d'informations, pardon, sur un des services. Celui-ci, I booted 18 hours ago. So apparently there's a first boot service. So you see, like, I've never heard of this first boot wizard. You see, so you see, it's crazy because I'm going to have to basically learn. But so it's not really a problem. The problem is that if this does not translate to other OSs, it's a bummer. Okay, so obviously going to show you how to build abstract concepts that can be used on any OSs. Okay. So just look at the service. So you see when you have a service like that, just try to look at the service. Okay, so is there nano? Yes. Some of the shortcuts do not work. Okay. So so systemd, you see, so this is what's running. So systemd first boot. So prompt local, prompt time zone, prompt root password. Okay, so so you see, I don't think, you see, so the first boot utility, basically what is this? It's basically, you see the like it's the utility you get when like you have a new image and you start it up. Okay, so I don't think this is in there, you see. So but you saw basically what is a service. Okay, so you have to describe the unit and then you have to describe like what the service does. Okay, so so what type of service it is, what command it's executing, you see. So a service is something that runs in the background and basically is at the like at the at the base, you see, they're blocking me again, that is at the base of like the Linux system. So obviously you can have several software that manage services. Here it's systemd, ok. Donc ici c'est systemd qui manage les services et vous voyez là c'est un service systemd, d'accord. Donc c'est le first boot wizard, ok. Et donc c'est dans ce fichier de configuration que vous configurez tout au sujet d'un service Linux, ok. Donc là par exemple là vous voyez exit start, donc là ça start un programme qui s'appelle systemd first boot, donc du même nom, vous voyez. Donc avec des flags, donc ça s'appelle des flags, donc des configurations. Et vous voyez par exemple là c'est un service one shot. Donc un service one shot c'est un service qui se lance et ensuite qui s'arrête et c'est tout, vous voyez. Et donc ensuite vous avez des choses comme eh bien vous voyez ça doit run after systemd remount fs. Vous voyez pourquoi? Parce que en gros remount fs ça veut dire que vous remontez les file system et donc ça doit run after ça. Vous voyez, d'abord vous mettez en place les file system et après vous mettez en place le boot. So here we go. So I was just explaining that it runs after these services and before these ones. And so here we go. And so it runs when it's first boot, you see. So I'm not going to explain every configuration, but it's basically it, okay? So Control X. So going to clip that because like it's a good explanation of Linux services.